श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः गुकारो अन्धकारो वै ऋकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अंधकार निरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम नमो भगवते वैवस्वताय मृत्यवे ब्रह्म विद्या आचार्याय नचिकेतसे नमः। We are in the second chapter, second Valli, second session, and the 7th verse. I will read the verse and we will continue with that. Yoni manye prapathyante sharirattvaya dehinaha stanum anye anusamyanti yatha karma yatha shrutam. Once more. योनि मन्ये प्रपथ्यन्ते शरीरत्वाय देहिनः स्थाणुमन्ये अनुसंयन्ति यथा कर्म यथा श्रुतम्. We already explained this verse for last previous classes, but it's a very important verse. We will explain in a short way and we will move forward to the next verse. This verse indirectly says that there is birth after this present body, and before entering to this present body we were having a lot of births. From this verse we need to infer this information, because all other religions don't believe in births. They conclude human birth is the last birth, one and only birth, and we are here to enjoy all the things which are available for our senses. And in Vedanta, we say Shamadamadi Shatka Sambhatti. By controlling our senses, one should start the journey towards the reality. So, Yonim Anye Prabhadhyante. After departing from the current body, Jiva, the individual self, what we call Sukshma Shariram, the subtle body, with all its impressions, tastes, which we already enjoyed in this world with our current body. All these impressions will be carried forward and we will enter into another body, Yonim Anye, into a womb. And there is a scale, there is a measuring aid in which body one will enter according to one's own qualification. It's going to say in the last line. Sharirattvaya Dehinaha. For the sake of taking another body, after departing from the current body, the journey of the jiva continues for taking another body. It can be Pashu Janmam, inferior births like animals, birds, aquatic species, insects, etc., etc. There are further inferior births which is been mentioned here in the third line. Sthanu manye anusamyanti. After getting the human birth, a person didn't grasp the significance of the human birth, so that what happened? They lived just for the sake of eating and for the sake of copulation, just finding out their pair and enjoying this material world. So, after departing the current body without accumulating any type of moral values and punya, the results of noble deeds, without that, all the impressions will take them to an inferior birth like grass, plants, trees, etc., etc. Stanu. We know that trees can't react when somebody wants to destroy them. They are just sitting duck for a woodcutter. Even though they want to survive in this world, their births are like that. They cannot explain their emotions, express their sadness. So just they will be cut down in a need. This is why they are called inferior birth. They are always vulnerable in this living world. Trees, grass, etc., etc. And how the body is chosen. Next body, how we will get qualified. Which body it will be. What are the measuring aids? That is being told, and it's very important. Yatha karma, yatha shutam. According to the deeds done in this birth and also in the previous births. Yatha karma. Remember, each and every action what we do in our life will attract a particular result. In order to enjoy this result, one need to take a body according to the action what they have done. If we have done a wrong action, the result is something evil. For enjoying the evil result, one will go to the inferior birth. Suppose if we have done a noble action, the result is something favorable, which is enjoyable, then we will enter into a body which is superior, where our noble results can be enjoyed. That's why yatha karma, yatha shrudam. karma is like a boomerang. Definitely, it is going to return back to the person who has done that. So, one should be very aware of the actions which are done by in three different planes: manasa, vacha, karmana. In the mental plane, in the form of thoughts, one should be aware of what we are thinking without hurting others. Our thoughts should be very clear. Ano Badra Kratavo Yantu Vishvataha. Vedic sentence. May we all get filled with noble thoughts from all directions. Very important prayer. Because every crime starts from one mind, somewhere in this world. When the mind is occupied with the beautiful thoughts, we will not involve in a wrong action. That is why manasa, vacha, orally, when we speak out something unfavorable towards somebody, it is a hurt. That is why the noble people used to say, in a need only you need to communicate. We are not here to make friendship. In a need, you communicate with somebody. We are not a media person to inquire everybody's situation. We are not here to show our performance in our speech. We are a spiritual seeker. We have lot of patience. We have a lot of thinking involved in our speech. One should be very aware of what we are talking, how we are going to express to somebody. Manasa, vacha, karmana, physical play. With our hands and legs, one should be very aware not to step upon small insects or any other things. So actions will draw respective results for the for that respective results. We need a respective body to enjoy. So one should be very aware about the actions, yatha karma, because the next birth will be in tune, in according with the actions what we have done in this world. A piece of meat born out of cruelty. When you enjoy a piece of meat, you are enjoying a cruelty. You are the culprit. You are the main person involving in a crime done by the slaughter. Because of you, he slaughtered an animal. Because of you, he slaughtered lot of animals every day. So, without knowing, we involve in different evil actions. That is why we should be very aware of each and everything what we are eating and doing. Yatha karma, yatha shrutam. For the sake of enjoying the cruelty, we will become another lamb or goat and we will be taken to the slaughterhouse. Because when we enjoy cruelty, we need to be the specific form where the cruelty happened. Then we will become a goat or a lamb or a bull or a cow or a hen, whatever it may be. I am saying for the aware of the people who can understand what is spirituality. I'm not talking to an ordinary person. So I say from my heart, it should be very aware about what we are doing through our three planes, mentally, physically, and orally. Yatha karma, yatha shrutam. Shruti, Vedic sentences or Upanishadic sentences. In tune with the Vedic sentences, what we have learned or listened from the Guru Parampara, our traditional teacher. All our issues, all our bondages, all our difficulties, all our grief, everything has one center root called ignorance about oneself. I, I don't know who am I. I have an overall idea which are collected from the different people around me, from the family, from the society, from all the people around. So we conclude ourselves that I am a man or I am a woman and I have an Aadhaar card or an identity card or I have a passport, I have a license. On that I have a face and I have certain identification marks. These are all meant for the empirical dealings. It's not true. The empirical identity is not the identity which is told in the Upanishads. Upanishad talks about our real nature. Sula Sukshma Karana Sharirat Vidirikta, which is separate from the gross, subtle, and causal bodies. Remember, I will say once again, Stula Sukshma Karana Sharirat Vidiriktaha. I am separate from the gross body. I am separate from the subtle body. I am separate from the causal body. Then I mentioned this statement. There will be a question arising in our mind. Then what is the nature of what is my nature, real nature then? How can I identify my real nature? If I am not all these bodies. Subtle body means mind, intellect, senses, etc. Causal body means the rudimentary, the ignorance, that ignorance which made me to think other than what it is. Karana Shariram, the causal body. So, if I am separate from all these bodies, who am I? What is my nature? Then we have different Vedic sentences, Upanishadic statements. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Ahamasmi. Aham Brahmasmi. Tattvamasi. All these sentences are not ordinary sentences. It'll take at least 12 years to understand it properly. It is not a casual statement, even though it seems to be casual words and casual statements. That is why Yatha Shrudam, according to one's own understanding on the Upanishadic statements about oneself. The ignorance have two different ways working on an individual. One is completely covering the real nature, Avarana. Completely covering the real nature. Then only superimposition occurs. Our real nature, that the consciousness is being completely covered by the external bodies, by the external things, by the material pleasures. That is why ignorance, which is also called Maya, that illusion, which completely cover our consciousness, and we go behind certain other things for the sake of happiness. Then what is my nature? Again, I'm asking. My nature is completely covered and my nature is completely projected other than what it is. That projection is that I am this body. The covering, the projection should go once you come to know the real nature. That is why Vedanta is the means of knowledge. if I can, the one and only means of knowledge to understand one's own nature. I am this immortal, ever pure, eternal origination of bliss, etc., etc. And that consciousness is the all-pervading consciousness, and which might to be me. I am that consciousness. But we need three things in our life to understand all these things. There should be consistency in listening. Ignorance is very much deep-rooted in our mind. I am this body. I should enjoy material pleasures. I should go along with the things around me. I am a woman. I am a man. All these notions are just projections, because not knowing the real nature, all these projections will sprout in our life. And it's very deep rooted, so that there should be consistency in listening from the traditional teacher. We attend one class and go out for 3 classes and come again for the one class. It will take time then. Shruti, listening should be continuously. There should be consistency. Systematic. Even though Upanishads and traditional teachers work, if I can say, they overwork for us, overtime working for us, still we are lacking our discipline to listen something serious, So systematically one need to listen. Consistently one need to listen. Comprehensive. Adarena nirantaram dirghakalam. I used to say like that. Then only the knowledge will work. The traditional teaching will work. If not, it takes time. The knowledge should eradicate our ignorance. For that, continuously one need to listen what the Vedanta, the means of knowledge, says. It's a pramana, the means of knowledge about oneself. No other pramana can bring the nature of oneself. So, yatha karma, yatha shrudam. In tune with the actions what we have done in this life and also in the previous lives, and also in tune with the text and teachings which are listened by the disciple or the person. According to that also, one may enter, one may not enter. If the person is totally convinced about oneself that I am not a body, people made me to think that I am this body. People made me to think. People made a lot of mistakes around me, and I also followed them. From there, the mother, the teachings which are told in the Vedanta, Shruti Mata, she comes and slowly holding the hands and taking out of this samsara, the world of death and birth cycle. That is why yatha karma, yatha shrudam. According to what we have listened, according to what we have done. That two factors will decide whether we will enter into a womb or whether we will be freed at once right now itself after listening to the traditional teacher. I have explained almost 3 classes now. Now we will go to the next verse. Now, this knowledge is being personalized. It is being told by Lord Death, it is available right within you. You need not to go anywhere in search of this consciousness. Being all pervasive, it is available everywhere, right in front of you or right in your body itself. And they say like this: Yesha supteshu jagarthi kamam kamam purusho nirmimanaha tadeva shukram brahma tadeva shukram tat brahma tadeva amrtatvamuchyate tasmin lokaha shritaha sarve tat u na atyedi kaschana yetat vaitat. What a beautiful slogan. Once more I will read. Yaha yeshaha supteshu jagarti kamam kamam purusho nirmimanaha tadeva shukram tat brahma tadeva amrtatvamuchyate tasmin lokaha shritaha sarve tat u na atyedi kaschana yetat vaitat. Lord Death again reveals to Nachiketas in a more direct way the body which you are carrying and misidentified with you, that I am this body. In that body itself, you can see, you can discriminate this consciousness. How? Logically, Lord Death says to Nachiketas that we are all very much familiar about the three states occurring in our body. What are the three different states? One is waking state. Second is dream state. Third is deep sleep state. For the waking state in Sanskrit, it is called Jagrata Avastha, where the senses are in full measure and it is full awake. Our senses, and behind the senses, mind is also active, intellect also active, so that we comprehend the things which are right in front of us. That is called waking state. Mind is awakened, senses are awakened, and I deal in this material world in the awakened state, Jagrata Avastha. And in dream state, our body, the external senses are completely without having any aware. They just lay down. They don't have any force or pressure from the mind to work in the external world. They are just much less similar to inert. The senses are completely inert. Once the senses are inert, there is no material activities, empirical activities. I'm talking about the external senses. Our legs, our hands, our eyes, our ears, our nose, all these indriyas. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandhani. Senses of listening, senses of vision, senses of smell, senses of touch, senses of speech and taste. All these five organs are completely inert, as though they are inert. They are not conscious at all. But the mind is active. In dream state, Swapna avasthayam manaha jagrat iva bhavati. In the dream state, mind is working, half consciousness, not fully, completely. There is consciousness. Because the mind is working. Here, now comes to this verse. Saha yaha yeshaha, the one who is supteshu jagrati. When the senses are not in conscious, in the dream state, but the real nature of an individual, which is all-pervasive consciousness, which is free from all three states, Jagrada, Swapna, Sushupti Avasthayam Vidiriktaha, who is also separate from all these three states. States are only for a physical body, not for the individual. Remember, three states differently occurring only in our physical body or in our subtle body, not for the consciousness, which is the substratum of all these three bodies. Substratum is not even touched by any of these three states, even a speck. Whatever you think, whatever you do, whatever you decide will not affect our substratum. That is why it is called Nitya Shuddhatvad, Nitya Shuddhaha, ever pure, eternal pure. Body used to touch different things. Mind used to think about ugly things. Our causal body will be sleeping, unaware of the situations. All these things happen in the bodies. Jagrada avastha for the gross body. Swapna avastha directly connected to our mind. Sushupti avastha somehow connected to our causal body. Deep sleep. Because in the deep sleep, I am not aware of where I am sleeping, who am I, what I have to do in the next morning. Everything will come in at once inside our mind once we wake up from the body. Once we wake up, the first thing what we think is, what a beautiful sleep I got. Up to this, I didn't know anything. For making that statement, somebody is there awake. This is our logic. The guy who is awake, that guy is called our Brahman. In spite of all the states, this is always awake. No states can touch this all-pervading Brahman. So the sentence is very clear. It's talking about the dream state. When all the senses are not aware of the things in the dream state, but in the mind, one who makes to think the mind for different things, whatever things we enjoyed in our external world, whatever things we have decided to buy and enjoy in the external world, whatever things which we have a plan in the future to get connected, all these things get mixed up. There is no specific role in the dream state. A poor person can see as a multi-millionaire. A multi-millionaire can have a dream of becoming very poor in the society. An ordinary person can see a dream who is riding on a white elephant. A person who is handicapped can see a dream who is the winner in the Olympics 400-meter sprint. There is no specific rule in the dream state. Remember, don't ask anybody, I have seen this, what is the result of this dream? For an ordinary person, I don't give this advice because he don't know what is Brahman and what is no, he don't know the reality of these three states. But for a seeker, spiritual seeker, I should say, you are not beginners at all. You are listening for a while, all these spiritual classes. So after seeing a dream, you don't consult with a person. I have seen a wild elephant chasing me. What is the upcoming event in my life? How I can connect this dream to my event? There is no connection because there is no rule for a dreamer. Anyone can see anything in the dream state. So that a handicapped man can see he's getting a gold medal in a sprint. So in the dream state, Lord Death says, who throws different desirable things to enjoy in the dream state? By what presence, by whose presence, by which consciousness the mind is awakened? Even though our external senses are completely unaware of what is going on, the mind is partially awake. And who throws this consciousness to mind? In the form of desirable things. And we are the spectator. We are the enjoyer of all the things which we see in our dream world. We are the all. We are the all things. No other consciousness or no external things entered into my mind. For example, I used to say in my Vedanta class, there is no rogue elephant outside. It didn't enter into our mind to see as a dream. It's all my creation, my own consciousness. Ubadhi, we say that. Mind have certain impressions. And mind is inert. Like bulb is inert. But the presence of electricity make the bulb to do its effulgence, to do its job. If the bulb, if the light is in a blue color, it throws the light in the color of blue. If the light is in a red color, once the electricity passes through that, it will throw red light. Red light is not the characteristic of the electricity. Red light is not being commanded by the electricity. Electricity's presence in this light made to throw different characteristics which are already there. So Nirguna Parabrahman, tasteless, attributeless, this all-pervasive Brahman, which is void of all kinds of attributes, because it is formless, tasteless, attributeless. This all-pervasive consciousness being there, I have a media called mind, which is very much connected with this consciousness. And my mind have already preoccupied impressions. All the things are already pre-programmed due to my actions, what I have done in my previous births and also in this birth. My mind is inert. This is the main thing. An inert mind cannot work itself. It is not self-effulgence. But it learned from this base, the substratum called consciousness. Due to the presence of consciousness, the mind creates different desirable things within the mind. And the mind itself will enjoy. Different things come outside from the mind according to the impressions already occupying inside the mind. Due to the presence of the consciousness, it creates different things. Everybody will not have the same dream in our daily experiences, correct? Everybody have different dreams. Somebody want to go to Varanasi, they are planning. Somebody want to go to Nepal, Buddha Neelakanteshwara temple. Somebody want to go to Kailas. Even somebody don't want to go anywhere. Everybody have different dream and they go to sleep and they see different dreams. The impressions which are already inside the mind, but it is inert. But the presence of the consciousness make them alive. Like the movie screen is inert. The projector and the electricity make the things possible. In that white screen, all the characters will appear and we will be enjoying. After a period of time, again the white screen remains. All other things get resolved. Similarly, Lord Death says, you need not to go in search of this consciousness. I will tell you in a simple way. The dream state is conducted by this consciousness. All the senses are unaware of the present situation and the mind is partially working. Then this Purushaha, this sentient being, creates, go on creating, kamam kamam nirmimanaha. All the impressions are alive, which are inert in nature. That Brahman, that consciousness is indeed you, O Nachiketas. The consciousness which make all our impressions alive, even though they are inert, it will include our mind also. Mind is inert because it's a body, subtle body. Mind can be an instrument. An instrument cannot be always sentient. It is working due to the presence of somebody. Mind being inert, it lends the effulgence, it lends the energy from this all-pervasive consciousness, and all the impressions are ready to enjoy in the form of dream. Nothing came from outside, nothing gone to outside after making an end for the dream. Everything starts inside the mind, everything gets resolved inside the mind. Beautiful way of presenting logically. Who is the cause of the dream? Who is the resolver of the dream? Who is the witness of the dream? If you find out the answer, there is only one answer. The all-pervading consciousness, who already misunderstood as I am a individual soul. It is not true. This is the all-pervasive soul, the eternal Brahman, the eternal consciousness, who is the place of origination of the entire happiness in the world. Material happiness is a drop of the real happiness. Ocean of happiness might be you. Once you study properly, in a systematic way, in a comprehensive way, in a consistency way, you will come to know that I need not to go to any pilgrimage. I need not to go to any hotel. I need not to be a participant in a party in order to get happiness. The ocean of happiness is me, because all pervasive consciousness which have the nature of happiness. Due to the delusion, due to some misunderstanding, I took myself, I am this body and I am searching for happiness. Thus, this relevant verse says that by whom, one who projects, creates different desirable things while the senses are unconscious, unaware, when they are sleeping, sukteshu. The mind is partially awake, and there all the things are created. That consciousness which is working behind all these three bodies and all these three states, that consciousness, tadeva shukram. Shukram means pure, white in color. White color represents the purity, correct? Tadeva shukram. That individual consciousness is what they say for shukram. Pure, that's all, pure. That pure consciousness, Tadeva shukram. Tad Brahma, that is Brahman. Brahman, the word I have already explained a few classes, few months, few years before, I think, at the beginning. The word Brahman means literally the biggest among all the things I have seen. Into what all the things are being settled. For example, when you keep all the fruits in a plate, the plate is the toughest thing to hold everything. Similarly, rhinoceros, elephants, plants, oceans, stars, planets, everything stays being sustained by whom? That is called Brahman, the biggest of everything. This consciousness is not a mere consciousness. It is not a casual idea or a casual meaning. Tat shukram, tadeva shukram, tad Brahma. It is the pure thing. See, purity cannot be relative purity by washing or by cleaning process. No. Eternal purity means this Brahman being formless. There will be no other thing to make it impure. There is no second thing to make it impure. It is also formless. These two facts make Brahman ever pure. When we have a form, we become impure due to some other things coming towards our body. So, impure is been always due to the secondary thing. When there is no secondary thing, there is no second thing. Ekameva adyutiyam Brahma. One without the second. Being that, it cannot be impure at any time. This Brahman is ever pure. One thing. Second thing, it is formless. Any form is subject to have some impurity due to the contact of a second thing. Any form means limited. When it is limited, there is another form, and due to the contact of some other thing, one can be impure. So, formless, and there is no second thing other than Brahman. That is why it is called eternal pure. Shukram, the word. Tadeva Brahma, Tat Brahma, that is the biggest. That being the biggest. Tadeva Amrtatvam Uchyade. Once you know that you are that Brahman is you. I am that Brahman, Aham Asmi. Aham Brahmasmi. Tadeva Amrtatvam Uchyade. Then you are immortal. Because we are mortal because thinking ourselves, I am this body. There is a date of birth and I conduct a lot of birthdays. Some candles are being burned up and blown up. And I am living a life with all kinds of issues. And I always feel I will go from this body. I will go, I will die, I will die. This is called mortality. Once you come to know your real nature, that you are ever pure, eternal. The word eternal means nityam, permanent in this world. Knowing that I am the eternal Brahman, one person getting the knowledge immediately become immortal. Immortality is not being accomplished by any knowledge. Immortality is being discovered through knowledge. Already I am immortal, but I don't know that I am immortal. But I came to know by my traditional teacher's voice that I am immortal, I am not this mortal body. Tadeva amrtatvam uchyate. So, eternal Brahman, immortal Brahman, ever pure Brahman, that Brahman is throwing the consciousness, throwing the sentience to the mind, which is inert, to project all kinds of desirable things for the viewer, for the individual. That consciousness is ever pure and immortal. And on this immortal consciousness, tasmin lokaha, shritaha, depends for their survival. They are all fixed. They are all being superimposed on this consciousness. Tasmin lokaha shritaha. There are 7 worlds up and 7 worlds down, according to our legendary books and scriptures. Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, Mahaha, Janaha, Tabaha, Satyaha. 7 worlds up, Urdhvaloka. 7 worlds down, where this hell and everything is being told. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Mahatala, Patal. 7 worlds up, 7 worlds down. But these are all for the person who don't know what I am. For the person who is immortal, he knows that I am the all-pervasive, and on me everything stays. Everything is fixed. Tasmin lokaha shadaha. And sarve tat, all the things in this world, whatever I enjoy and experience and seems to be fear to see, due to their strength and due to their body and due to their ability, nobody can transcend. Na atyedi kaschana. Because it is the biggest, it is the all-knowing, it is the almighty, and it is the only thing which is all-pervasive. On that, everything stay back. Because of this, whole world is going in this manner. Nobody can transcend this eternal. We will discuss this verse more in the coming class, and we'll go to the next verse. Om Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayandam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobrahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshadu Parjanyaha Prithvi Sasya Shalini Deshoyam Choparahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramyaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.